Hey, welcome to Live from Dennis's house, and we got a special show today. It's the Dennis One-on-One Summer Series, where I meet with celebrities and we discuss everything about them. And today we have Louis Prima Jr. on the show. Cheer for Louis Prima Jr. Yeah, so I had the pleasure of going to the Louis Prima Jr. concert at Count Basie Theater, covering the show, meeting with Louis, and I did a sit down in the green room. It was very interesting. And of course, Louis Prima Jr. is the son of Louis Prima. Just Louis Prima, not Senior.
Okay.
So, and everybody knows Louis Prima. So we're going to do...
Well,
we're
does
gonna
everyone
spotlight.
know who he
They
is?
better, or I don't want you watching the show if you don't know who he is. So we're going to spotlight the Louis Prima album, The Wildest. And we're going to talk about Louis Prima Jr. and we're going to talk about his music, and we're going to talk about everything Prima in this world. You got that?
I got it.
All right. So first, we're going to start the show off with some music and a long-distance dedication to King Louis from The Jungle Book. Nice. And we're going to play the song, I Want to Be Like You.
Ooh.
Welcome back to Live from Dennis's house. And now we're going to start on the Louis Prima biography, and we're going to talk about this album. This album here is actually in French. It's called The Wildest, but it's a special French edition that I got from somewhere. So I don't know what it's actually saying. I see here, voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? It's the only thing I can read. Yeah. The rest, all the songs on here. Look out all these songs. Okay. Just a Gigolo, I Ain't Got No Body, The Lip, Body and Soul, Jump, Jive and Wail, Buenos Aires. The
it's
hits
an awesome
are countless.
album.
Yes.
I love that album.
Louis Prima, he was a singer, actor, songwriter, trumpeter who had an amazing 50-year career. He was born in 1910 in New Orleans. And he was a very musical, big Italian-American family. And Louis decided at age 18, after high school, that he was going to be a professional musician. And he went to New York City, where his first gig was supposed to be at a club called Leon and Eddie's, located on 33 West 52nd Street.
Oh.
But Eddie Davis, the co-owner of the club, did not hire Prima because he thought he was black. Because if you listen to him, he came, into, that was a constant troubles for him, but he was then given the opportunity to debut at a inconspicuous Famous Door club. And the Louis Prima Band became such a smash hit, and the entire 52nd Street was renamed Swing Street.
Oh, wow.
Did you know that?
No.
So,
is it still?
I don't know. Oh. But a whole new era of music began. Louis coining phrases such as swing, hep. He was the first one to say hep cats and solid jack, crazy man, kiss you later, I'm eating a potato, 23 skidoo, all those things. And Louis and his band wrote and recorded the song Sing, 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 which was a huge hit for Benny Goodman. And it's like the most famous swing song of all time. And that earned Benny Goodman the name the King of Swing.
Oh,
but it's really Louis that's the King of Swing.
Yeah.
Benny stole that, I think. And then that was the thing about his career. Louis, that's how he managed to have a 50-year career, that he constantly was reinventing himself. So then around World War II, he formed a huge orchestra, 22-piece orchestra. And he had a million-seller hit called Angelina. And that was his mother's name. So he wrote this song, and it started the whole country talking about Italian-American things, such as pizza, veal parmesan, pasta fagioli, antipasta, gabagool, you name it. And like the whole country was talking about it. And these words were never spoken by anyone except Italian people. Like yourself, but this is what people in Kansas were talking about this, and...
Can you say mozzarella for me?
No.
It's because you can't.
Yeah. So, and he had huge smash after smash with themes like this. It was like songs, Josephina, Please No Squeeze of the Banana, Watch a Galoop, Makes Love on the Stoop, Felicia No Capisce, and on, right? So, and this trend began, Italian suits, Italian designers, and all because of Angelina. And it opened the door for, all these Italian singers, Perry Como, Vic Damone, Tony Bennett, Dean Martin, etc. And then a famous DJ at the time crowned Louis the king.
Really?
Just the king. That's even better than the king of swing, right?
Yeah.
So Louis is known as the king. And
I thought Elvis was the king.
Nope, he was the king at this time.
Oh,
This was
wow.
1944.
Okay, well.
So.
All right.
So he continued to play to sell out crowds all over the country, and he received a personal invitation to the White House from Eleanor Roosevelt.
Wow.
Yes, and then the 50s came, right? And you
Okay.
think, all right, that's the end of him. Everybody else went the wayside, right? But
Right.
not Louis. He reinvented himself again. And funny, when you mentioned the king, Elvis, he was being interviewed, and someone asked him where he got his famous wiggle from, and he credited Louis Prima, of
Wow.
course. Yes. So, and Louis knew that he had to change with the times.
Okay.
So he formed he downsized his big band to a small group and added the great sax man Sam Butera and vocalist Keely Smith.
Okay.
And he performed magic once again by developing a shuffle beat combined with a New Orleans-style rock sound, adding the wailing sax, and for comedic value, transformed the vocalist into the deadpan performer that he could play off of. So therefore, inventing rockabilly, basically.
Wow, he's a genius.
Yes, he really was, And then the hits that came off of that, like I mentioned from this album, you have Just a Gigolo, I Ain't Got Nobody, Buena Sera, Black Magic, Zuma Zuma, When You're Smiling, Jump Jive and Wail, on and
wow,
on and
I
on
love
and on.
that. Yeah.
So, and Louis Prima was basically the biggest star in the world at this time. They called him the Big Daddy of them all.
Okay.
All right, so then he was married quite a few times
Oh,
and
was he?
divorced all through these
Okay.
times. And in 1962,
Okay.
he added a new
odd.
singer to the band, Gia Mayone, who he went to marry and reinvented himself as this new singer. And for the rest of the 60s and 70s, he continued to break attendance records all over Vegas and selling out all the casinos and all of this. And at this time, he settled down in Vegas, and he loved playing golf so much. He would play golf every single day with his buddies like Frank Sinatra, Milton Berle, whoever.
Wow.
And then he would play at the casinos at nighttime.
What a
and
life.
He loved it so much, he built his own golf course.
Oh,
Isn't that something?
yeah, that's...
And then in 1966, this was my first taste of Louis Prima, that Walt Disney approached him and asked him to be King Louis in the movie Jungle Book,
Yeah.
right? And that came out, I believe, in 1967.
Wow.
And the film was nominated for an Oscar. Louis received a gold album for the soundtrack recording. And I just happen to have that album here too.
Wow.
This album here I've had my entire childhood, if you can't see this on radio. But I have this album called Walt Disney's Happiest Songs. And it was given away by Gulf stations in 1967. And you can even see my little childish handwriting all over it. But
Yeah.
Louis Prima's here. They have, he actually wrote and sang the Winnie the Pooh theme, Winnie the Pooh,
He
Winnie
did?
the Pooh. Yeah.
Oh,
And they
wow.
have Bare Necessities from Jungle Book on here and a whole bunch of other stuff. But that was huge. That was my first entrance into Louis Prima. I love that. Our kids love that
course.
too.
Yeah,
Every
who
kid
didn't?
loves
Who
King Louis
doesn't?
from the Jungle Book. That was one of my
Yeah.
favorites. Yeah, so...
Yes,
And then
absolutely.
Louis, he was on every single show you can imagine all during those times. Johnny Carson, Ed Sullivan, Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas, Dean Martin, you name it, he was on it.
Was he funny?
Oh, yes, very,
okay.
very funny as well. And he was a great showman on stage. That's why I call him the first rock star.
Oh.
And he was just, he had his hand in everything.
He did.
And unfortunately, he passed away in 1978, but his legend will live on forever. We are going to have the pleasure now, when we come back, we're going to discuss everything with Louis Prima Jr. We're going to talk about everything, and then we'll be here today in beautiful downtown Red Bank, New Jersey, with the great Louis Prima Jr. Woohoo! So, let's hear it for Louis. Louis is currently on tour, and he's making a stop tonight at the Count Basie Theater in Red Bank. So hopefully we can delve into your life and learn everything there is to know about you within 10 minutes or 10 questions, whatever comes first.
It's only going to take 10 minutes. There's not much there.
So we're
Just
gonna
kidding.
go into everything: your life, your music, your career, your dad, your whatever you want to talk about. We'll get
Awesome.
into everything. So,
Awesome.
so obviously, everybody knows you are the son of the great Louis Prima.
Correct.
That's why they call you Louis Prima Jr.
That's where the junior comes
You are
from.
the youngest and actually the only son, right?
Only son,
So-
youngest child.
Right. So your dad, I am a huge fan of your dad. Everybody loves your dad. Your dad was one of the biggest stars of all time, I think. And he was more than just
Absolutely.
the king king of swing. I think of him as like the first rock star, really.
You know, he absolutely was, and one of the things that I roam around and preach, because I think people forget because they really concentrate on that Vegas thing, but I mean, he changed his style and did different things for 50 years. You know, he started small combo, big band, the Vegas combo. He changed to rock and roll when it was rock and roll, and he absolutely, you know, and the proof's in the pudding by how many people and the diversity of people he influenced in the music business. Everybody from, you know, David Lee Roth to Snoop Dogg. I mean, it's he was rock before.
A song with him?
I had a conversation with him in the Las Vegas airport many years ago, and
that's awesome.
You know, big fan, blah blah blah. You know, and it is neat, you know, because he didn't, you know, it just lays credence to what he was, and he was rock and roll before rock and roll existed.
Exactly, and like you said, he had a career spanning 50 years and influenced a whole generation. David Lee Roth recorded his songs, Brian Setzer, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, that whole scene, you know, even Benny Goodman covered his song.
Reba McEntire won Country Song of the Year for Sunday Kind of Love. That's
really?
That's a Louis Prima original. I mean, it's everywhere, you know?
So like, at one point, I believe your father may have been the biggest star in the world. So now, when did you first realize that your dad was different than the other dads when you were growing up?
I really didn't realize anything was different, I think, until I really graduated high school and kind of got into the music business myself.
Oh, yeah?
I think it was always a normal childhood to me, you know. So mom and dad went, and you know, they went to work at 5 o'clock at night instead of you know,
in the morning,
day job like everybody else. It was just, you know, that was normal to me, and it wasn't until like high school that you realize, well, my father, you know, this and that and that, and start to really get a grasp and appreciation for it.
Because one story I heard that I really enjoyed is that one time at I think it was the Sands in Vegas, they making a big announcement. Here is Louis Prima, and you come walking out on stage, 5 years old, holding the trumpet in your hand.
My father used to push me out on stage as a gimmick. He also used to pull me out on stage if you know, because we used to roam around on the road with him sometimes during the summer as well. But he would whisper jokes in my ear and have me telling dirty jokes to the crowd. And I'm 4 years old and have no idea what I'm talking about. But, you know,
now, do you remember that, though? That when you walked out, like, in the Vegas stage with thousands of people out there?
Absolutely.
Like, remember your feeling that you had as a little kid? Did you enjoy it and you got the bug from that? Or you're like...
You know, I probably did enjoy it. You know, I sang... Joy to the World, Three Dog Night was the first song that I really sang on stage. Followed the next week and was Your Mama Don't Dance, Your Daddy Don't Rock and Roll. And I do recall it. I do remember it. Vivid memories of it. But I didn't get the bug till after till I was in college.
Really?
Actually,
Wow.
I mean, I played music all through school, trumpet, and learned piano and drums when I was 5 years old and everything, but I don't think I had any aspiration to be in the music business until I started sitting in with friends' bands and things, you know, in the rock scene. And the second I had a microphone in my hand and was able to entertain a crowd, that's kind of
that's it.
The whole game plan changes, you know. College? What's college?
Now, do you still play the other instruments just for fun or anything? Or?
I still dab. I'm a jack of all, master of none.
Trumpet, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm truly a hack at that as well. I mean, let's be honest. I enjoy playing. So I do keep up on everything. You know, my youngest son's a drummer right now, so you know there's drums in the house that I pound around on, and you know there's a keyboard there and things. So I do play. I enjoy musical knowledge. I think I realize though that I'm never going to be the musical great on an instrument. You live within your you know capabilities. I can play. I guess I do it well, but I'd rather be singing. You know, that's my thing.
So now let me ask you though one question. When you were a kid, was there ever like parties with like Frank Sinatra playing baseball with you and Bob Hope?
It was more golf games. You know, my dad owned a golf course in Las Vegas, and he had a golf course down in New Orleans.
Wow.
And the one in Vegas especially, there was always somebody there, and I'm out playing golf with them, you know, and it could have been, you know, it could have been anybody, and you know, the people you meet, you know, meeting, you know, George Foreman as a kid, and there's a lot of memories like that,
right.
of the people that came around, and I think the party days were over, though. I think it was more just hang out,
Just have some fun. So now, like you said, you grew up in Vegas, but you have a connection to New Jersey. That your maternal grandfather owned a place in Toms River, seaside?
I grew up in New Orleans and Las Vegas, but my mother, Gia Mayone, who tonight is partially because of her, and I'll touch on that in a second.
Yes,
but my mother was born in Roebling, New Jersey. Grew up in Bordentown and Toms River, and matter of fact, if you're familiar with the area, the Stewart stand that used to be right before you go over the Barnegat Bay Bridge to Seaside Heights.
Right.
My grandparents lived right across the street. 8 Fisher Boulevard. But my grandfather owned, it was a nightclub originally, the Red Top. He owned the Red Top on Seaside Heights, the bar. He had restaurants and nightclub. Nick's Tavern was my uncle in the Toms River area. And he was born on a boat coming over from Italy. He had one of the first Italian bakeries in New York City, actually, and so there's a rich East Coast representation beyond my father starting his career here, and we enjoy playing out here. It's huge, and what we're doing tonight this week has been through the Louis Prima and Gia Prima Foundation. We fund and help support arts in schools with scholarships, with events and clinics and things like that. So yesterday we did a bus, or this morning. Yesterday, that was this morning.
Today's Thursday. Yeah.
This morning we did a bus in for the local schools. Where they come and get a little jazz education.
Oh, that's awesome.
And do some things. We've got one of the Louis Prima scholarship winners, which is an ASCAP scholarship during the annual ASCAP Awards. He's going to sit in with us tonight. There's a couple other scholarship winners through various other entities that we do. And it's basically what my mother wanted. My mother was important to her. Tomorrow would have been her 75th birthday, so it's a little bit of celebration of her and a little bit of keeping arts in the schools and giving kids an opportunity that
important stuff.
Needs to be there.
Yeah, right. Without that, music will go away.
Right.
Very important. One of the most important things. So now, you mentioned before that you were into music in high school and stuff, and you were playing in bands.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming were you in like swing bands, rock bands? What kind of bands?
Rock and roll, my friend.
Yeah,
I did toured around in a rock band for 9 years in the middle 80s to early 90s. I put, that's where I put my live chops in, I suppose.
Right.
You're a kid and you want to play what's popular and what you listen
exactly.
to. And I still listen to rock and roll. I'm still a huge rock fan.
That's what I was interested
completely.
in too. Like, besides the swing and all that kind of stuff, like what were your favorite kind of bands and singers growing up?
AC/DC had me from the mid 70s. I'm telling you that I still love that band. I don't like Axl Rose singing with him at all.
Yeah, we talked about that ad nauseum.
At all. It's
not
terrible.
right. Just not right.
A huge fan of theirs. Where I like classic rock and things like that, I do listen to new things. I'm a huge Deftones fan. I like Nine Inch Nails. I listen to a lot of what's current, and it's very eclectic. We're driving around in the bus, and if I'm driving and have control of the radio, it can be anything from Lou Rawls to Sex Pistols.
There you go.
There's everything on there.
You gotta have diversity in music.
Exactly. You really do. There is a lot of good music out there. To be single-minded on one genre is kind of silly, and I think that the record industry creating said genres.
Absolutely.
When I was a kid, you'd listen to the radio, and it could be Michael Jackson, followed by Deep Purple, followed by you kind of listen to everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
And kids don't do that anymore.
Nope.
Like to see that change.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but So you gave up that musical career to pursue a regular life, if you will.
I frustrated with the music industry toward the end of the rock and roll. I got very frustrated with it, and it was kind of a bad time for rock and roll. Grunge was hitting it big,
and that
was a very dark time. But I raised two boys, and it was important to me to make sure that my kids were taken care of. So yeah, I entered the day job world. I was food and beverage manager for quite a few years. When they were old enough to realize and be okay with me being on the road, I jumped right back into it.
Okay, yeah. Because you went back into it, you pursued the career full time later in life. And what made you, because like you said, I guess once your kids were old enough, you said, okay, now it's time I can get back out there?
It's kind of like, it's realizing that it's really where I'm happy on stage is really where I'm happy.
Yeah.
Well, whether I'm good or not, that's for other people to judge. I don't care. I'm having fun. I entertain people. I got the greatest band in the world helping me. And it really, truly is what I enjoy, and it was never out of my mind. You just, I had kids, man. You have to do the right thing.
Most important job in the world, yeah. And then when they're grown and they don't want to hang out with you,
when they realize girls exist now and dad can go back on the road. So
you're still here. What are you doing here? I'm going out. Yeah. See you later. So, so now let's talk about your music. You've released 2 CDs, right? The first one was Return of the Wildest, right? And then that one was a lot of great original stuff. And I believe you did a cover of your dad's I Want to Be Like You song.
Right.
And now, I have to say, that was my entryway into your father's music. We're about the same age. For a lot of people, right?
For a lot of people.
The Jungle Book was my favorite movie growing up as a kid. And King Louis and that song and that movie, that was so damn good. I just love that stuff.
That's the one song and the one piece of work that my father did that transcends time, age, race. Everybody knows it.
As often as
Hey,
not.
welcome back live from Dennis's house. That was the great Louis Prima Jr., who I had the pleasure to sit down and chat with. And now we're going to talk about his CD. It's called Blow, which is his latest one. He had a CD earlier in this called Return of the Wildest. But first I want to talk about the concert. The concert was ridiculously good. That I've never seen everybody smiling and happy. If you weren't tapping your toes or dancing to that show, you better check your pulse because there's something wrong with you. They have this like 10, 11, 12-piece band going on there, horns, singers. The female singer, Leslie Spencer, in the band is also in Brian Setzer's band as well. And I happened to see a clip of a recent show when they were all performing together. They did Jump, Jive, and Wail together.
I love that.
And it was great. And that, of course, was a Louis Prima song that came back into the limelight for that commercial that they did. Remember that? Like, jeans commercial, khakis commercial,
Oh,
whatever, and they all
yeah.
swing
Yes,
dance into that
yes,
song.
yes,
You know, of
yes.
course, Brian Setzer covered that,
Yeah,
and of course,
he does a great.
David Lee Roth did Just a Gigolo,
Right.
and but anyway, that the Louis Prima Jr. band is carrying on in his dad's steps there.
love that.
And
Yeah,
it's not
that's
just
awesome.
the beauty of it. It's not just like a tribute show where he's just playing his dad's songs. He's recording it, and he's keeping it fresh, creating new songs in that same vein, and it's just the show is incredible, and everyone should check that out wherever they can. And the CD Blow, this has a lot of great songs that they wrote themselves. They have a great band, A.D. Adams on drums, Ryan McKay on guitar, as I mentioned, and just a whole bunch of guys here. And, every song is great on this CD. It's Blow, Go, Let's Go, New Orleans, Someday. And they do a swing version of Goody Two Shoes by Adam Ant on this CD as well.
Really?
Yes. It's a great song.
Wow,
So,
that's so cool.
yeah, and he does on his first CD. He did a cover of "I Want to Be Like You," his dad's song too. Yeah. So of course, in concert, they do all the hits, and it's amazing. You'd be so shocked at how many great songs his dad had, and it's just hit after hit. They just keep coming in concert.
Wow.
So I'd recommend that show highly, very highly. And I recommend this CD. And it was great sitting down to chat with him. And it's a great musical family they have there. He even mentioned that his son plays the drums too. So hopefully he may continue the tradition.
I hope so.
The great Prima tradition.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it for the one-on-one summer celebrity time with Dennis. But we still have to smell the album.
Okay.
Yeah, because, we're taking it easy for the summer. We don't want to overwork ourselves. So we're just going to have a lot of these special shows coming up. And, because most people go on hiatus for the entire summer.
Right.
But not us. We're
No.
doing...
We're the hardest
lot.
working people in show
Yes,
business.
exactly. I'm the new king of something. Smell that one. That came from France, 1955.
Oh, you know what the French is?
We're recording this, right? Yeah, international incident now. All right. Well,
Oh, you like I'm saying something? No,
yeah.
everybody knows.
So that was...
The nose knows.
Yes, that was it. We're all done here. Thank you for watching live from Dennis's house. I want to give a big shout out to Louis Prima, the whole band, and if they're coming around, I know they're going to be at Villa Roma this year. They're going to be on tour,
Yay!
and
that's
they'll be all
awesome.
over the place. If you ever get a chance, you better go see them. Go buy his CD, Blow. Buy Louis Prima albums if you can find them, and get hip to that jive. Good night.